Hi everyone, welcome to class. We're going to begin by lying down. Bring yourself to lay down on the floor. Laying yourself down on your mat in a position that is comfortable. We're going to spend the first few minutes of class here. So if you do feel like you need a bit of extra padding underneath you, a blanket underneath you, jacket on or anything like that, do feel free to grab it. So we'll meet laying ourselves down in a position that is comfortable. Maybe you want to keep the soles of the feet on the floor and the knees pointed up towards the ceiling, or maybe you're more interested in letting it all go and laying the body out flat. Your choice, totally your choice, but finding yourself in a position that really, in particular, allows the hips and the pelvis, the lower back, to sort of settle and sink into the floor. And once you've got yourself in that position, you're welcome to bring the hands to rest wherever they feel comfortable. Maybe they're coming to rest by your sides. Maybe they're coming to rest on your belly, whatever suits you. Maybe it's one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. Wherever feels comfortable for you to really let the shoulders soften. And if you're interested here, you'd be welcome to close the eyes. But again, totally your choice. And as usual, we're just going to start with the awareness. So before we begin to move the body, before we begin to fire up the breath, before we begin to ask anything of the body, we spend a bit of time just seeing what you've got to work with, just seeing what is available and how the body feels in this position. Allow your attention to pull away from the sort of stuff, the bits and pieces of everyday life, and see if instead you're able to bring your attention to really focus on how the body is. And it might be that the resounding reply you get is uncomfortable. The body is uncomfortable, and that's okay. If you're feeling sensations of discomfort, tension, stiffness, pain, restlessness, all of that stuff is fine. Make some space for it, acknowledge it for what it is. And you're not really here to try and change it, you're just knowing that you're going to practice mindfully with it. You're sticking with what is. Maybe you become aware of your mood around about this point. Maybe you become aware of your energy level. Again, really critical elements in building up an idea in your mind of what you're working with, of how the body feels. And then very gently draw your attention to your breath and do your very best to resist changing the breath. Resist bullying the breath into something you think is somehow better. It's really tempting. I do it all the time, trying to make the breath more yogic in some way. Let's see if you can just observe how the breath is to start with, before we start to control it, just seeing if you can work with what is already here. And generally, the breath we kind of feel the breath at 3 points through the body. We usually feel the breath in the belly, in the chest, and maybe just lifting the front of the shoulders, the collarbones. And so we're going to gently use those points of the body to pay closer attention to the breath. So as you inhale, you might notice gentle, subtle movement in the belly, the chest, the collarbones. And as you exhale, you might notice gentle, subtle movement at the collarbones, the chest, and the belly. Stick with that formation if you can. And you're not forcing the breath to those places. You're just sending your attention to those places and seeing if the breath is there. If the breath doesn't feel like very much is happening under your collarbones or at your belly, don't worry. So inhale is belly, chest, collarbones. Exhale is collarbones, chest, belly. We'll stick with that for another couple of breaths. And then when you feel ready in your own time, you might just start to wake the body up with some very small movement, maybe starting at the toes and the fingertips. You might want to roll the head from one side to the other, maybe just gently waking up through the neck. And we're going to begin our practice by finding a bit of a stretch here. So if your feet aren't on the floor already, bring your feet so that they're on the floor with the knees pointed up towards the ceiling. And you're just going to very gently allow both knees to drop over towards your right windscreen wiper the knees. The feet don't have to stack together, the knees don't have to stack. And from there, you might choose to take a big inhale breath and stretch the fingertips up overhead, finding that kind of giant, just woken up type stretch in the body. Maybe you're reaching the fingertips away from the left kneecap. As active or as passive as you like. Take a big inhale here. And then when you're ready, just release the arms overhead. You can leave them overhead, just relax them. Roll the knees back through to center. Make any adjustments you need to, maybe tucking the tailbone underneath you again. And then in your own time, knees are rolling over to your left. And once the knees have touched down to their limit, they don't have to find the floor. You might use the inhale to switch on and activate through the fingertips, reaching the arms up and away. Again, stretching the fingertips away from the right kneecap, lengthening all the way down the front of the body, that big kind of yawn sensation in the front of the body. And then when you're ready, you'll use an exhale breath to relax the arms and then roll the knees back gently through center. From here, we're going to start to fire up the core a little bit. So you can float the arms back down by your sides. We're working through a few different little core activators here, and I'm loath to say exercises because I want you to just switch these muscles on so that we can then work with them strongly in our practice. So we're thinking core in the sense, not in necessarily the sense of like your six pack. We're thinking about the muscles that hold us up in the front, the muscles that lift our legs at our hip crease, and we're thinking the muscles that stabilize us at the back. So all of that is going to come into action here. So what we're going to do is arms relaxed by the sides, feet firmly planted on the floor, knees point to the ceiling. You're going to take a giant inhale breath. Feel free, I should have said that first. Feel free to watch me do the first one if you want to. If it starts to get confusing, you can always watch me do one and then join in when you're ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a big inhale breath through the nose. We're going to hold that breath, lift the right knee, hand against the knee and push. All still holding the breath. And then the exhale breath kicks in and you pull the belly down with the exhale. Belly to the floor. It's really hard to talk and do. Inhale to release, let it go. Exhale, lift left knee, hold the breath. Press the hand against the knee. When you've got that force, the exhale drags the belly button down. Inhale to release. Lift right knee, hold the breath, push the hand. Exhale, pulls the belly button down. So really feeling these strong muscles in the belly switch on and the back switch on. Inhale to release the knee. Lift left knee, left hand against knee, push, exhale, belly pulls down. You can start to make a bit of noise if it is helpful. Inhale to release the left knee. We're going to do 2 more each side. Lift right knee, hold the breath, push hand against the knee. Exhale, belly down. Inhale, let it go. Hold the breath, lift left knee, push, exhale, belly down. Last one each side. Inhale to release. Hold the breath, lift right knee. Push hand against the knee, really firm. Exhale, pulls the belly down. Hugs those bottom ribs in. Nice. Let it go. Inhale, last one. Hand against knee, push. Exhale, belly down. Nice. Let that left leg go. Take a breather here. Maybe hands on the belly feels like quite a nice way to just kind of unwind those tight muscles in the belly. Maybe you want to give the hip flexors a little push away. That can feel, sorry, tops of the thighs, a little push away. That can feel nice in the hip flexors. And then you probably guessed it, we're going to try for both legs at once. We're going to try for both legs at once. I think we'll do 3 rounds. If it isn't happening and you're finding yourself very wobbly, which is weirdly what happened to me earlier, you can just use the hands against the thighs without lifting the knees. So you can push lower down and still find that sensation. So you don't have to come to tabletop. You've got the option of pushing here or pushing in tabletop legs. So hands by our sides. We'll take a massive inhale, a giant inhale. Hold the breath, lift the knees. Both hands on knees, push. Exhale, belly down. Feel the lower back kick in, nice. Lower the feet to the floor, inhale. Hands to knees, push. Exhale, belly pulls down. Last one, inhale. Hands to knees, push. Exhale. Nice, let that go. Bring the feet to the floor. Try to resist the temptation to hug your knees in. We are going to unwind them. We are going to unwind the abdominal muscles, but in the other way. So just with the breath here, for the next 3 breaths, we're going to find a ripple through bridge. So on your inhale, you'll push the feet down, lift the tailbone, and roll your way up into bridge. Squeeze your glutes, but it does not have to be your highest bridge. You can see I'm bringing the body more or less into just a straight line. I'm not trying to lift the hips any higher than that. Use the exhale to roll the back body down. So a nice little stretch out for the lower back if you can find that slow roll and release. And a good stretch for the abdominal muscles as we lift, press the feet. Roll the tailbone, peel the back away from the floor. Exhale the lower. You might have already forgotten all about those core bits and pieces there. Last one, inhale to lift. Press through the feet. Really use the feet here and then squeeze the glutes for that extra bit of lift. Exhale, lowers, rolling upper back, middle back, lower back, down to the floor. Last little bit of fire before we bring ourselves up to sit. So you're going to bring your feet up to tabletop if that is comfortable for you. If you'd rather have feet on the floor, you can stick with feet on the floor. Wherever you are, you're going to find upward facing palms, maybe on the floor to begin with. Take a big inhale here at the bottom. And as you exhale, you're going to scoop it all up and in, lifting the head and shoulders, reaching fingertips towards your heels. And you're doing your best not to crunch the chin down. See if you can keep lifted. Chin, there's a bit of space in the front of the throat, as if somebody is drawing you up towards the ceiling rather than towards the knees. Reach fingertips for heels, and we're holding here for another 3 breaths. So we're looking for roughly about 5 breaths. I'm estimating that's 2. We'll call that another 1. Last 2. Big inhale. Exhale, belly down. Big inhale, a little lift. Exhale, belly down. Nice, let it go. Head and shoulders coming back to the floor. Feet might touch down, just briefly. We're doing 1 more of those. 1 more exactly like that. So you're holding quite still, but you're looking for that hugging in sensation, that body drawing into the center line. So when you are ready, you're lifting, feet into tabletop, upward facing palms, broad across the collarbones, and you're going to keep that breadth across the front of the chest. Big inhale at the bottom. Exhale, pull the belly down and scoop everything up and in, reaching fingertips towards heels. Maybe the toes are going to give you a little wiggle to distract you. You're reaching, fingertips towards heels. We're holding here for another 3. Inhale. Exhale, belly down. Inhale here. Exhale, belly down. So you can get shoulders up a little higher. Last inhale. Exhale, belly down. Let it all go. Release the hands to the floor, feet to the floor. And I know you probably are desperate to. Feel free to give the knees a squeeze. So give yourself a bit of a hug. Or if you need a bridge to unwind, you can take a little bridge. Really, really nice. Thanks for sticking with me through that. So from here, we've got 2 options. You can roll onto your side and push yourself up to sit, or you can catch hold of the backs of the knees and just give the spine a little roll up and down the mat. If this isn't for you, you know this doesn't suit you, you're welcome to roll onto your side. Or if you're working in a small space and you don't risk that big rock and roll. And when you've got yourself there, We'll roll our way up to seated. We're just going to perch on the tailbone, on the sit bone, sorry, for one moment. You thought we were over that, but we're not. We're not quite over that. One last little thing. Hands on the backs of the knees. You can probably guess where we're headed. See if you can come onto the tippy toes tapping down on the floor. And then from there, as if you were pulling against the backs of the knees, find that lift in the chest. So you're coming right up to sit tall on the sit bones. From that position, if you've got it, you're going to lift the toes up in line. Lovely, very nice. Bringing ourselves into our boat. So from here, we're not going to reach arms in any particular dramatic fashion. It's exactly the same as we did when we were lying on our back. Upward facing palms reach towards the heels. Inhale. Nice. Exhale. Turn your boat into a canoe. Straight legs, lower body. Inhale, back to boat. Reach to the heels. Exhale, find that canoe, lower it down. Last one. Inhale, up to boat. Exhale to lower to canoe. Straight legs if you can. Inhale, back to boat. Let the tippy toes find the floor. Maybe give the knees a bit of a hug if you need to. That is it. That really is, that is it. I promise. So from here, we're rolling over the toes. So what we're going to do is put the feet on the floor, hands behind us. Bring the body weight up away from the floor. The hands can do as much work as you need here as sort of scramble your way to a little squat. So we'll meet in a little squat with the knees together, just to begin with, the knees together, and the heels stretching down towards the floor. The heels, you're not forcing them down towards the floor, but it's as though the heels are a bit interested in the floor and they might like to get a closer look at the floor. Nice. From here, if you can and it's interesting to you, you're welcome to take the knees a little wider and start to think about creeping the fingertips out in front. A nice stretch in the lower back, if this is comfortable in your hips. If this isn't comfortable in your hips, it is unlikely to be a pleasant stretch in the lower back. So you're welcome to skip it and stay where you were. From here, if you've stretched out, walk the fingertips back in. Come knees back together, arms either side of the knees. Turn it this way. And you're going to use the fingertips to support you as you very gently lower knees to the floor. So coming into our toes pose. So toes pose is toes tucked underneath, hips sitting on the heels, body upright. If hips sitting on the heels is blinding for you, it does not suit you at all, see if you can keep the toes tucked, but take the weight away. So bring yourself up to a high kneeling position if you need to. We're just pausing here for a couple of breaths, not a huge amount of time, but nice slower movement because we've been working quite fiery already. We'll drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. You're welcome to close the eyes if that suits you with this kind of neck stretch. If you're interested, you might reach the right arm out and away. Distract yourself from the toes by satellite dishing that right arm around and looking for something that feels really lovely over there. Maybe a lovely stretch down the arm and the shoulder. Take a last inhale on this side. Release right arm, roll the chin to center. Lifting the head back up through the middle. We'll release the right ear to the right shoulder. Just the last couple of breaths on this side. Release the toes if it is really, really awful for you. Feel free to untuck them. Take a last inhale. So take a big inhale as you reach the left hand out and away. And again, you can use that kind of swooshing satellite dishing of the arm as if you were stirring a bath. You know, you sort of stir a bath with a flat hand in a figure eight. That might feel quite nice. That just means, yeah, that's sort of the way you stir a bath. Take a last inhale here. Release the left arm, roll the chin through to center, bring the fingertips out in front. Fingertips out in front, the head can just hang. You're going to untuck the toes and give the feet a little drum on the floor. Just give the feet a little release just for a moment. We're coming back onto them, but we'll just let them catch back up with themselves. Make any little movements at the ankles and the toes that you feel like you need to. And then when you're ready, you're tucking the toes underneath and bringing the body weight back. Seeing if you can push the knees away from the floor, back through your little squat, but not for long, because you're going to push the floor away, lift the hips, and bring yourself to your forward fold, or your version of a forward fold. So you might here keep pretty soft in the knees, you might let the head hang out, you might be grabbing hold of opposite elbows and letting the body dangle. whatever suits you. Maybe you're moving around, maybe you're having a bit of a wiggle and a stretch through the legs. Maybe don't forget you've always got that option of elbows on the knees. If it's really stressful in the backs of the legs, this is a nice way to take some of that pressure away. Bit of a wiggle here. And then when you feel ready, we'll grab a hold of something pretty heavy, maybe really heavy pair of trousers, or we've definitely done this before with the idea of drawing a big bubble up around the bottom. You're going to push down through the feet and roll yourself very gently up to stand as though you were dragging a bubble up and around you. So imagine you've got to keep that movement fluid and consistent. You can't stop or the bubble will break. You're going to bring it up past the body. Notice if it's sticking, you want to wiggle from side to side. Draw yourself right the way up. It comes up and over the head, and then the fingertips release at the top. Let it go. The arms are raining their way back down. We're going to do that, exactly that, one more time. Big inhale, the arms up. Exhale to dive it in, long over the legs. The arms can do whatever you like. Soften the knees as you come down. Back in your forward fold. Maybe again, a bit of a wiggle, a stretch, whatever you feel like you need. And then you're catching a hold. Maybe it's like a really heavy jumpsuit, like the kind of jumpsuit you might wear for sort of a skydive. Or maybe it's that idea of a bubble made from sticky bubble liquid, but you'll bring the fists up the center of the body. Maybe they go off to one side and the other, getting a good wiggle. Stretching all the way up. When you get up past the face, let the fingertips release. Inhale up and overhead. Exhale, let the arms rain down. Lovely. Okay, so from here, we're going to start to wake up the feet and the legs a little bit. And we're going to start with something quite simple, and then we'll add on and make it gradually more interesting, more challenging. So stick with what works for you. So standing on two solid feet, we're going to take the right foot just slightly out in front. Lots of you will have done this with me before. And we're just going to start to roll through the foot. So you're rolling from big toe to little toe. You're rolling up the outside edge of the foot, through the heel, maybe some nice gritty bits there, and then along the inside arch of the foot, and let your knee do whatever it's got to do in order for that roll to happen. Let your standing leg do whatever it needs to do. I find I have to sort of bend my standing leg a bit to get a really good satisfying roll. And as we do this, working through the foot, we also work through the knee and the hips, all sort of connected. It comes all the way up the body. So it's just a slow introduction to the foot, between the foot and the floor, but it kind of impacts on the knee, the ankle. Take it in the other direction if you haven't already. So this time rolling little toe to big toe, inside arch of the foot. See if you can get as much of the foot down in contact with the floor as possible. Heel, outside arch of the foot. There might be bits of this that feel really nice. A bit like giving yourself a foot massage using the floor. We'll go for a couple more rolls in this direction. I often find when I go in this direction, my foot gets further away from the body. If that's happening to you, don't worry about it. I don't know why that happens to me, but I end up with a bit of a sort of rock star stance and my foot miles away. Okay, we'll go for one more roll on this leg. One more roll in this direction. Take it slow. See if there are bits of it that you can really enjoy. Bringing yourself back. We'll bring right foot to stand back next to left. And just observe the difference in sensation between the feet. Do you feel a bit more connected to the right foot now? Does the right foot feel a bit more switched on to you? The left foot, for me, feels just sort of a bit like a lump of foot, whereas the right foot is a bit more active and engaged. We'll do the same on the other side, so we'll switch the left foot on in the same way. Taking the left foot just slightly out in front, so like a step's distance out in front. And we'll roll from big toe to little toe. So roll all the toes into the ground. Outside edge of the foot. Heel of the foot. Inside edge of the foot. And you can do this at your own pace. So it might be that you like to go quite quick. It might be that one round takes you a few breaths. Again, let anything else that needs to happen in your body happen. So if you need stability with the arms, you can find that. If you need to let the legs bend and flex, feel free to. Notice action at the hip, at the knee. We'll change direction if you haven't already. So I think we're rolling little toe to big toe, inside edge of the foot, heel, outside edge of the foot. But if you know me to be wrong, then you absolutely do whatever is the opposite for you. So we'll go for a couple more rolls in this direction. See if there are bits of it you can feel are pleasant, enjoyable, would revisit. And then after this last rotation through, we'll bring the left foot to stand back next to the right foot. So you're solid on 2 feet. Those solid feet are going to enable us to start to find our balance. So anchoring down through that left foot that you've just worked, so that should feel a little bit more readily available to you. Anchoring down through the left foot, the left leg is nice and solid. You're going to bring the right knee up in line with the right hip. So it doesn't have to come up that high, it's a kind of nice right angle, and it's almost exactly the same position that we found ourselves in on the floor when we were pressing. So let's do that again here. Take your big inhale, left hand to right knee, come across the body, press, hold the breath, exhale, pull the belly button to the spine. Nice, we'll do one more. Let it go, let it all relax. Touch the toes down if you need to. Give everything a bit of a shake. So what we're looking for here is that exhale breath. The sensation is that the whole body hugs in, almost as if kind of the instant reaction you'd have to somebody punching you right in the stomach, everything pulls right in. That's what we're looking for. So right knee is lifting. It doesn't matter if you're wobbling all over the shop. Hopefully that big exhale breath will keep you solid and still. So big inhale here. Hand to knee, push, hold the breath. Exhale, pull the belly in. Whole body. Nice. Let the hand come off. Keep the right knee lifted. Yeah. Back to maybe feeling a bit wobbly, but hopefully those hip flexors are working. We're going to start to find a circle through the right knee. So it's going to come up and over, around and through. You can tap toes at the bottom of every circle if you need to re-find your balance. But you're looking for nice, big, clean movements, as if you're drawing a giant circle in front of the body with the knee. Nice big rotations through the hip. Notice bits of this that feel a bit sticky, a bit challenging. Tap the toes down whenever you need to. See if you can keep it moving. Change direction if you haven't already. See if you can roll it through the other way. This is gonna make sense. This is going to be super useful in a minute. Go one more in this direction. Nice, and then seeing if you can keep the right knee lifted, but if you need to tap it down, tap it down. You're gonna start to move that right knee in any way that is interesting to you. So you might start by thinking about, this is how I usually start, by thinking about drawing a figure of 8 with the knee. This is how I usually get going. It can be quite a small figure of 8. And then from there, maybe there are bigger movements. Maybe the leg wants to stretch out and around, maybe it's coming back behind you. Ooh. And if you fall, wobble, it doesn't matter. You can come right back into it. You're just taking that leg in any direction that is interesting to you. The hands can do whatever they need to do to stabilize you. Ooh. See if you can challenge that left leg to stabilize and keep you steady. We'll take kind of a last little breath. Maybe do one more thing that feels interesting, challenging, good for you. Have a laugh. It's not that serious. We're waving our leg around. Bring your right foot back to the floor. Beautiful work. Give the legs a shake. Every child's favourite part of a kids' yoga class. Give yourself a shake. Why do we keep it just for kids? Okay, find your feet, nice and solid. We'll do the same on the other side. Those same 3 little movements all syncing up together. So we'll bring the left, we'll think about right foot plugging in first, and then we'll bring left knee up in line with left hip. Left knee comes up, doesn't have to come high. Remember, you're just keeping that nice flat surface out in front. Big inhale here. Right hand to left knee, push, hold the breath. Exhale, whole body hugs in. Inhale, we'll let it go. Just seeing how that first one feels. Bit of a wobble, bit of a shake. Finding myself out of breath. If you're out of breath, it's okay. The muscles in the legs are massive. When we work them hard, they demand quite a lot of oxygen, which is why the breath picks up quite quickly. We'll go again with that one. Left knee lifting. Big inhale here. Hand to knee, push. Exhale. As if you're wearing a belt that's been tightened. Now release the hand so you can keep the left knee lifted. Lovely. And then from here, we're looking for those giant circles. So the knee creates that smooth top part of the semicircle by opening out to the side, and then it comes round and down. It doesn't matter if you're working with something that's a bit more like an egg sort of shape, or a kind of dodgy oval, or maybe your knee prefers kind of a square. That's okay. You're just looking for these nice big clean rotations of the hip. If you're anything like me and something strange of course has to happen in your hands when you do movements like this, you find yourself with I end up with kind of boxer's hands. So we'll change direction, rotating the knee back the other way. If you've got one side that is noticeably wobblier, that is okay. You do what is working for you. Touch the toes down whenever you need to. One last rotation on this side. And then we'll keep the knee lifted if you can. If you need to touch it down, touch it down. I'm going to take a step forward so I don't kick the wall again. And then from here, that left knee is headed off in any direction it likes, the left leg in any direction that it likes. So maybe you start with that interesting figure of 8, challenging the right leg. And then from there, maybe there are directions you would like to stretch the leg away. It might feel really good to actually take the leg out long, keeping it lifted. Maybe it comes across the body. Ooh, maybe it's going behind you. Ooh, maybe you're thinking about leading with the knee. Maybe it's nice to have a bit of a reach through the toes. Just be really careful of stuff around you. I don't want to hear after this that you've knocked a prize ornament off a top shelf with a big pointed toe stretch. Maybe a last couple of breaths here. If there's any other directions that you don't think you've managed to take that leg, why not challenge yourself? This leg is so much wobblier for me. And then we'll gently bring ourselves back onto 2 feet. Find yourself on 2 feet. Give the legs a bit of a shake. Ooh. Put all of that weirdness to one side and let's step back into some familiar movements, but I promise you that will all feel really useful. That's going to fire you through where we're headed today. So coming to the top of the space that you're working in, steady yourself. So what I mean when I say that, big steady breaths. Almost as if you're telling the body, settle down. So once you've found yourself still, the feet engaged, we'll take a big inhale, bring the arms up overhead. As you exhale, you fold the body in any way you like. Your halfway lift, maybe you're using the hands against the legs as a cue. You inflate the body on your inhale. You exhale, deflate the body. From here, creep the toes together. Heel toe the feet in if they're not already side by side. And you're going to come back to bent knees, bobbing down into that little squat. Bobbing down into that little squat position. I'm going to just shuffle back because I've got a transition I want you to be able to see. If this doesn't make sense to you first time, feel free to watch me do it. You're going to put the palms of the hands on the floor. Heels are reaching towards the mat, remember, but they're not forcing down. And from here, you're going to step the right foot back until the right knee is underneath the right hip, but keep it lifted. And the left knee back until the left knee is underneath the left hip, but keep it lifted. So a box plank. Take a big inhale here. Big exhale here, pull the belly in. Inhale here. Exhale, release the knees to the floor. Let that go. You can take the knees a little bit wider if you want to. Reach the hips back to the heels. Take a child's pose. So your choice as to where you position the hands here. Maybe they're stretching out in front for a bit of a shoulder stretch. Maybe they're coming back beside the body and the forehead is resting down. Your choice. You also, I often like a bit of a wiggle through the hips, a bit of a rock and roll from side to side in child's pose, and that might feel quite nice in the lower back. When you're ready, anchoring down through the hands. You're going to draw the body forwards onto all fours and come to something that we've not even touched on yet. Can you believe it? We'll make our way through 3 breaths in cat-cow. So on your inhale, the belly drops low, broaden the collarbones, lift the gaze. Exhale, pulls the belly in, tucks the tailbone, rounds the spine. Seeing if you can really make the most of that tilting and tipping action in the front and the back of the hips. That is the area of the body that is working super hard today with where we've been so far. Last breath here. And then bringing ourselves back to a neutral spine, we're going to start to find some nice, clean, big circles through our right knee. And the easiest way to begin that circle is to take the right knee up and out to the side, up and over, circle it back in. So again, it doesn't matter if it's not a perfect circle you're working in here. It can be a bit more like, try for something that is smoother than a hexagon. You can bend at the elbows if you find that you're tilting a lot over towards your left. A little mini bend in both elbows can work quite well to keep you stable in the middle. Change direction if you haven't already. So there's a moment in this where visualizing a dog at a lamppost could be useful. Nice and strong through the core. Last roll through on this side. And then we'll keep the knee hovering. And from here, you can take, exactly as we did when we were standing, you can take that right knee off in any direction you like. So maybe you want to think about starting to extend through the foot here. And this is where you can begin to get a bit more fluid and interesting with it. So maybe you're going to begin to bend the elbows, maybe the toes are reaching. I'm just going to give that little kick out the way so I can get over there. Don't kick things around your house. The toes can touch down on the floor in different directions if that is interesting. I like the image here of maybe thinking that your right leg has just briefly transformed into your tail. And you can kind of give it a bit of a swoosh from side to side. A real challenge, if you're interested, can you touch the right toes against the right wrist without bending the knee? I've never done that. That's the first time I think I've ever pulled that off. I think it was the pressure of the camera. I've often tried it, never had any success. We'll go for one last movement here. And we'll gently bring the right knee back to find the floor. Right knee comes back to find the floor. From here, you're going to tuck the toes underneath you, walk the hands back towards the knees. You probably know where we're going. We're going to rock the knees up off the floor, find ourselves in a little squat pose. If you can, stabilize yourself here with the fingers off the ground. If you need fingertips to touch, that is fine. You can have fingertips to touch and come to your forward fold. Or if you've got it, big power, big inhale. You're going to rise to stand. Yeah, exhale, the hands are coming down. Very nice. If you need to take that in 2 parts, you come to forward fold and then you rise to stand, as usual. So find yourself back at the top of the space you're working in. We can do exactly that, but we're going to pay a little bit of attention to the left hip this time. Find yourself somewhere near the top. Steady. Tell the body, tell the breath, settle. Steady. Big inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold the body in. Slide your way up to the halfway lift, inhaling. Exhale, fold the body over the legs. Fingertips to find the floor, heel toe the feet towards one another so that you can bob yourself down into that little squat with the heels probably lifted. In fact, almost definitely lifted. Once you've got yourself there, I'm going to have to shuffle back again so that you can see me in better light. You're going to put the palms of the hands down on the floor, just out in front of the feet. And you're going to send this time your left knee back. The left knee stacks under the left hip, but it doesn't touch the floor. The right knee back. The right knee stacks under the right hip, but it doesn't touch the floor. You've got a full breath in that box plank. Push the floor away, big inhale. Exhale. Last inhale. Exhale, knees touch down. And again, we're straight in to 3 breaths in our cat-cow. So move the body in any way that feels good. Maybe it's a small cat-cow, or maybe it's quite a big snaky movement. Maybe you want to include a little bit of a kind of sweep forwards and back with it. Might feel quite nice. Last breath here. Inhale your way to a neutral spine. Should have said this on the other side. Feel free to put padding under your knee that's going to be on the floor. So your right knee's going to be on the floor. Feel free to put padding under that knee if you found it was a bit crunchy last time. And we'll start to make those big clean circles as best we can with the left knee. One side may have more room for movement than the other, and it's fine if you go, hold on a minute, I could do this on the other side, and it's much trickier here. Don't worry about that. Just see if you can get some kind of a shape. You're taking the left knee up to the side, probably to start with. It goes out, round, back and down. Imagine somebody's sellotaped a Sharpie to the point of your knee, and you're doing your best to draw a giant circle. And if you find yourself leaning to the right a lot, a little bend in both elbows, push the hands down. That will help to kind of centralize and stabilize the body. Change direction here if you haven't already. Roll it back the other way. It might be that one way is easier than the other. Might be that one way is harder. So feeling probably glutes working, so muscles in your bum a little bit shaky. Muscles in your leg a little bit shaky just from keeping the leg itself lifted. We'll go one more roll. And of course, core muscles working to stabilize. So once we've done that one more roll, the left knee is hovering and you can move off in any direction you like. So you can start to move through the body here. Ooh, closer to that than I thought I was. You can start to find those big movements through the leg, through the knee. Maybe you want some stillness. Maybe you're just going to reach the toes back and cross the legs over and have a lovely side stretch. Maybe you're bringing the leg out to gate pose and having a stretch to the inside of the leg. Maybe you're going for, see if I can do it on this side. Maybe you're going for that extended leg, bringing the left toes to tap the left wrist. Ooh, almost. And then take it back, kick the spare bed, knock ornaments off high shelves, get as snaky as you want to with this. Don't forget the folded knee can come in and you can round. One last little bit of movement. Imagine left leg briefly transformed into your sort of happy swooshing tail. And then we'll find left knee back on the floor. Left knee comes back to the floor. You're going to tuck the toes underneath you and walk the hands back. So it might be quite a nice moment here when the hips touch down. You get a bit of a stretch through the soles of the feet. Roll the knees away from the floor. Tuck yourself up into that little squat. So you're looking to come to a position up on the toes where hopefully you might be able to bring the fingertips away from the floor. If the fingertips have to touch down, don't worry. Do it in 2 parts, forward fold and then up to stand. If you're coming in one part, it is a big inhale to power away from the mat. Exhale, hands through center. Lovely. Very nice. We've got time to put that through our paces. One more go, something slightly different again. And working a kind of more complete flow or vinyasa through. So find yourself steady at the top of your mat. Just checking. Here we go. Okay. Find yourself steady at the top of your mat. Big inhale brings the arms overhead. Exhale folds the body in. Inhale your halfway lift. You rise from whatever point makes sense for you. Exhale, you fold. You're going to heel toe the feet together, exactly the same as we started the last round. And bob yourself down into that little squat. Ankles so mobile. Plant the palms, you know where you're going, you've done this before. Plant the palms, and you're going to stack the right knee underneath the right hip, don't let it touch down. The left knee underneath the left hip, don't let it touch down. Big inhale here. Exhale here. Inhale it up to downward facing dog as your rest pose from there. If you need to adjust hands and feet, you are welcome to. You're totally welcome to wiggle and stretch and move this downward facing dog as much as you want to. Find yourself nice and kind of settled, making sure that this is the right shape for you. This is the right length in your downward facing dog. Your knees are bent enough. Your tailbone is reaching up enough for you to feel that length of the body. The chest melts towards the knee. From here, we'll flow it through a vinyasa with a little bit of a difference. You're going to inhale, come high off the toes and roll your way out to plank. Hit plank, take an inhale. Exhale, release knees to the floor and body to the floor. And once you've touched down, you're going to sweep the arms back beside the body, palms of the hands face down. As you inhale, reach the fingertips back towards the heels and lift the chest. So a low Shavasana, a low locust pose. Exhale, lower the body down. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach for the heels. Exhale to lower, firing up that chain of muscle down the back of the body. Last inhale to lift, squeeze the glutes, push the tops of the feet down. Exhale to lower, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, and in your own time, you're pushing back to find downward facing dog. So we'll meet, and as you can see from what I'm up to, there's no rush to get there. Take your time. We'll meet in downward facing dog, and I really want you to check that this downward facing dog is stable for you. Just realised you want me to face the other way. That it is a steady place for you to hold here. Because from here, as you might have guessed, we're going to lift the right leg. So if you need to move the left foot a little bit more into the midline, you can. Lift the right leg up and back, bend the right knee. And from there, you guessed it, big circles with the knee. The knee goes up over, round and back. So you're drawing giant circles in the air with the right knee. Touch the right toes down whenever you need to. Don't forget child's pose is there for you as a break whenever you want it. We'll roll the knee back the other way. Change direction. Big circles in the other direction. Last one on this side, roll it through. Keeping the knee lifted or tapping the toes down if you need a break. You know where we're going. The same as we've done before. You're going to imagine this right leg has turned very briefly into your happy waggy tail, and you can start to find some movement that is interesting in that right leg. So if the movement that is most interesting to you is a breather, feel free to take that. That is fine. Maybe the right leg is crossing under the body for a bit of a fallen star. Maybe it's reaching out and away, a big ninja kick. Maybe you can take that challenge again on this side. Right toes, touch right wrist, straight leg. Oh, not quite, not quite. Send that up and back. Last little bit of movement, last breath here. Be as weird as you like with that lifted right leg. And then we'll bring the right toes down to the mat. Right toes come down to the mat. From there, you're going to lift the right toes, but only briefly, only enough for momentum to step the right foot half the way between the hands and the feet. Halfway between the hands and the feet should feel like a relief, not like a horrible big lunge. That's what we're looking for. Fingertips might slide in a little bit, and I'd love for you to just find a bit of movement here. So maybe you're rolling off the toes. I like to be quite high on my back toes and kind of come into and out of this. You're just sort of in a bit of a quite mobile pyramid pose. So it's strong in the legs. It's still, there's definitely a lot of noise in the hamstrings and the left quad, but it's just a bit more mobile, gives you an opportunity to find those interesting stretches. Also gives you an opportunity to anchor down through your strong right leg. Anchor down through your strong right. Actually, you know what? I've done this on the wrong leg, believe it or not. So just step your left foot to match your right and your right foot back, just so the transition makes sense. We'll do the pyramid, we'll do the exact same again in a minute, so we don't skip the pyramid on that side. Left foot is firmly planted down on the floor. And from there, when you're ready, you're going to step forwards and bring the right knee to the chest. Yes, lovely. Okay, find yourself steady, stabilize, do whatever you need to do. Maybe the toes have to touch down and come back up. That is okay. On your inhale breath, the arms are going to reach back, that Shavasana, that locust shape. Palms of the hands face forward as you lift the chest. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine you're going to tap your big toe against the back of your own head. It is a really active version of dancer pose, and if there is cramp, that is okay. You can release the leg whenever you need to. If you've still got it, a big breath here. Exhale to let it go. Let the foot come down. Give the legs a shake. Give the legs a shake. Give the arms a shake. Wiggle. Let that go. Yeah. So that's what we're working for. That's our big crescendo. Strong standing leg. Really strong hamstring and glute on the leg that is lifting. Strong in your hip flexor to fire it back. And that open sensation in the body. So we're going to do exactly that flow one more time. Find yourself steady at the top of your mat. Take those breathers whenever you need to. So you've done it once before. You know where you're going now. You can catch up with your breath whenever you want. Sips of water when you need them. Child's pose whenever you need it, or whatever works as a rest for you. So find yourself back at the top of the mat. Say to the body, settle. Slow down. Big breath in, the arms come up and overhead. Big breath out, let the body cascade over the legs. Inhale, you inflate the back body. Exhale, you deflate the body. I like to think of those things that you have at children's parties sometimes that make a bit of a trumpeting noise. Those ones, you know what I mean? Heel toe to feet together. Heels and toes are side by side as you bob the body down, fingertips supporting you into that little squat. Just a nice moment there of maybe the heels releasing towards the floor and the feet thinking, oh yes, that's lovely. And then the palms of the hands find the floor. It's the left foot stepping back this time to the box. Left knee stacks underneath left hip, don't touch the floor. Right knee stacks underneath the right hip. Big inhale here. Exhale here. Strong in your hands as you inhale, push back to your downward facing dog. If you need to adjust hands and feet, be my guest. This first one is just a nice wiggle, a nice opportunity to wiggle. If you need child's pose, this is a good place to take it actually. Shake the head, no more of this, please. Shake the head, yes, I'll do one more round, Alex. I'll come with you. Okay, when you're ready, roll off the toes, pull the belly in, out to plank. Hip plank, inhale. Exhale, release the knees to the floor and the body to the floor. You're coming down in one piece if you can. It was a bit snaky for me. Hands are coming back behind you. Palms of the hands are facing down, like airplane wings just out beside the body. Your feet push down into the floor, you squeeze the bum. As you inhale, you'll rise, reach the fingertips for the heels. You'll exhale and lower. Again, inhale to rise. You know why we're doing this now. So you know these are the muscles that you're going to switch on in that active dancer. Big inhale, reach back last time. Exhale, lower. Hands come under shoulders. Take your time. Take as long as you need to push yourself back and find downward facing dog. We'll meet in downward facing dog, but just check that it really is the type of downward facing dog where you can feel strong because you're going to move from here. So hands are spread wide, index finger and thumb anchoring down into the mat. Arms are engaged, pushing the floor away, driving the body back towards the legs. You're going to bring maybe right foot a little more into the center line. So you can inhale, left leg comes up, and you're going to bend at the knee. When you bend at the knee, try not to let the leg then become a bit of a dead weight. See if you can keep it lifted as best you can. We're going to begin rotation through that big circle, rolling through the knee in whichever direction you've chosen to go in first. Try and keep strong pushing through the hands. We're going 3 one way, 3 the other way, so we match with the last time. So change direction here. Roll through the hip, as big a circle as you're able to. Last one. And then from here, maybe keeping the leg lifted, maybe tapping the toes down if you need to. You're going to imagine left leg has turned into your tail, and you're just going to start to find that motion that is interesting in the left leg. Maybe the left leg comes across the body. You can get a bit of a stretch there. Maybe the knee comes to the nose and you're rolling it through. Maybe you're taking a child's pose. That's fine as well. Toes can tap down wherever they need to, don't forget. You have to keep the leg lifted the whole time. If you're interested in that challenge, straight leg, toes to left, wrist. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Keep working on it. Fluid motion as best you can. One more breath here. And we'll bring the left foot back to match up with the right foot. From there, we're going to step. I'm trying to get this the right way around now. We're going to step the left foot forwards halfway, and we'll come to the pyramid, which is actually on the wrong side, but it doesn't matter because we'll just switch the legs before we step. So just that short pyramid, the hands can move in as much as you need to. Maybe you're on your fingertips just for a little bit more stability, and you're just finding a bit of movement. I'm not even telling you what that movement could be, because I'm hoping that there will be something your body is sort of calling out for. If you want some hints, I will tell you that one leg can be straight, one leg can be bent, both knees can be bent, both legs can be straight. A little bit of a stretch, catch up with your breath. You know where we're going next, so you're looking to find that kind of power back in the body. So we'll just switch the feet, bringing the right foot forward to the left foot back, so we're going to come up on the right side, because I messed up before. Find yourself steady in your right foot, really solidly planted in your right foot. And if you can, all in one motion, you're lifting the left knee, woo, through to the chest. Don't worry if it didn't happen in one. Reset yourself, restabilize yourself, tap the toes down if you need to, come back to knee lifted. So on the inhale breath, we're working that open locust shape in the chest. Palms of the hands face forwards. As you inhale, the arms reach back. For goodness sake. Here we go. Lift the chest. Exhale. Imagine tapping your big toe to the back of your own head. Reach, reach, reach. If there's cramp, let it go, stretch it off. If you've got it, big inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Bring the foot to the floor. Give the legs a shake. Give the body a wiggle. Giving the legs a shake feels very necessary after that. Maybe give the arms a bit of a shake, let it go. Why not? I'll do this so you don't feel weird. Okay, good. All right, let all of that energy go. Let all of that hard work go. Beautiful. We're finding our way gently down to the floor. And we're going to come down the exact way we've been working so far. Big inhale, the arms overhead. When you're ready, you don't have to be at the front of your mat. You can be wherever you are. Exhale, the body folds in. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, release the body long over the legs. From here, fingertips are supporting you as you heel toe the feet together, last time. And bob your way down into that little squat, that little toes pose. This time, with the support of the hands, because our legs are tired and we don't want our knees crashing into the floor, you're going to release your knees down to the mat. Knees come down to the mat, and it might be enough for you to walk the fingertips back up until the fingertips just lightly touch down beside the body. You might not need the hands, and that might be enough of a stretch, or the fingertips could reach back behind you. And so I'm not thinking too much here about lifting my chest, although that's happening naturally a little bit. I'm more interested in the fronts of the legs, the quads. So see if maybe you can tuck your tailbone underneath you just a little bit, switch your glutes on just a touch. You can separate the knees if they're too close together and it feels cramped, but there's just a little bit of activation, a little bit of a lengthening of the lower back. Squeeze the glutes that will really switch on that quad stretch without you really needing a giant back bend. Take a last inhale here. Use the exhale to switch off those muscles at the hips, find the heels one more time. And then walk yourself back up, gently, gently, gently. Fingertips are going to push the knees off the floor, and then they're going to walk back. And this time they're going to catch the bum as you gently bring the bum to the ground. Nice. So from here, we're bringing the body into a forward fold, a really simple forward fold, the most simple forward fold I can think of. Stretching your legs out. The legs do not have to be straight, and you might be interested in doing what I'm doing here, which is kind of scooping some of the bum out from underneath you so you can sit up tall on the sit bones. And what we're looking for in this forward fold, keeping it really, really simple, is not more stress in the backs of the legs. A little stretch in the hamstrings might feel nice, but we don't want any more tension there. We've already done a lot of that. So instead, more interested in finding a release in the lower back. When you're ready, we'll go for an inhale to sweep the arms up, and an exhale to rain the hands down. So I'm going to keep my knees bent. If you've got straight legs, that's fine. You're welcome to straight legs. I've let my hands just find the floor. Resist the temptation to grab a hold of the feet and pull the body forwards. See if instead the hands can be really heavy, the shoulders can be really soft, the body can fall over the legs. If the toes roll open slightly, that is fine, let them. Look for space in the lower back and the middle back and between the shoulders and the ears. I'm going to take a couple more breaths here, just allowing the body to fall. Last breath. And very gently in your own time, flip the hands so they're facing the floor if they're not already, and walk them in alongside the body. Really small movements. They do not have to come in big steps. Roll through the body right the way up until you are seated. You don't have to lift the gaze. You keep the eyes pretty soft, gaze down towards the floor if that suits you. And we're making our way down onto our back. We will move from here into our Shavasana. I am going to say though, if you are practicing near a wall that is clear, like mine is, you might be interested in taking a slightly different version of Shavasana, which I will show you when we get to the end. So just worth bearing in mind. We're going to come through a final little stretch in bridge first before we get there. So feet are on the floor, knees are pointed towards the ceiling. Release the body down onto the mat. Feel free to grab the jumpers and socks and that sort of thing now if you need that. As you bring yourself down into kind of slower movements, you might find yourself that fire dies down and the body gets cold pretty quickly. So last couple of movements, we're going to roll through 2 rounds of bridge. The first one we'll keep stuck with the breath, the same as we started. So you want to be able to just gently pet the backs of the heels. The feet aren't so close that you can kind of grab them and hold them, but if you reach down, you can just lightly touch the backs of the heels. The knees point straight up. Push your feet down into the floor. Find that squeeze of the glutes, and that will power you up into bridge. Your inhale is going to roll up along the spine. Your exhale is going to release the body down. We've got the option of doing that one more time, or doing that and pausing at the top for a few breaths. So if you do it just with the ripple, come down and wait and we'll catch you up there. If you're doing it and holding, you can take as many breaths at the top as you like. We'll probably go for 3 or 4. Feet push down into the floor, squeeze the glutes, find that roll, that ripple, all the way up to the top. Squeeze the glutes. And when you get to the top, if you're interested in a little hold here, you might walk the shoulder blades in underneath the body slightly. You might interlace all 10 fingers and make a fist underneath the back. If that is interesting to you, you can keep the hands pushing down if you want to. Squeeze the glutes, lift the hips. On your inhale, think about bringing the chest towards the chin. On your exhale, think about reaching the knees out in front of you. Stretch in the hip flexors. Inhale, chest to chin. Exhale, knees reach out. Last breath here. Big inhale, chest to chin. Exhale, stretch your knees. Release the hands if they're interlaced gently. Separate the shoulders. Allow the upper back to find the floor. the middle back to release down. You're going to roll through the spine really gently until the tailbone touches down. When the tailbone touches down, we're making our way from here into our final Shavasana. You might want to make some final movements here. And like I said, if you are practicing near a clear space of wall, this is your alternative for your Shavasana. Because we've worked so strongly with the legs and the feet, it might be nice to take this version of legs up the wall. So to get to this, you're going to shuffle yourself up close to the wall. So one hip up against the wall. You're going to roll onto your back so that you can extend the legs up the wall as you kind of shimmy and shuffle yourself into position. If you're not working against the wall, you can find any version of Shavasana that suits you. If you've come up against the wall, the legs don't have to be straight. Don't know if you can see it, but there's a soft bend in my knees and the arms can rest wherever you like. Same applies for if you're in regular Shavasana lying on your back. The hands could rest on the belly. They could come out beside the body. They could hang out overhead. Whatever works for you here. Find yourself your perfect version of Shavasana. And wherever you are, whichever version of this shape that you've made your way into, allow the legs to get really heavy. You can take your time settling in. But wherever you found yourself, allow the feet to switch off. The calf muscles, the knees, the back of the knee. The quadriceps at the front of the thigh. The hamstring, the back of the thigh. Relax the muscles around your bum and the sides of your hips. See if you can release any holding from around your belly. Feeling your whole heavy pelvis sinking into the floor. Release the back body. The chest. The shoulders. The arms and hands. Soften the skin of the scalp, the jaw, and the face. Allow the body to sink into this well-deserved, heavy softness. Before the mind joins it, perhaps dip into a moment of real solid gratitude for this strong body that carried you through, for this strong body that enabled you to stick with just what is here. A real sincere thank you, body, And then see if you can soften the mind. See if you can release the same way you released any holding at your belly. See if you can release any holding, any gripping in the mind. And when you feel ready, there's no hurry to get there. You don't need to make any movements just yet. Bring your attention to your breath. As we did at the start, we're not changing it. We're just enjoying the breath as it is, as it brings new, fresh energy, prana into the body. The breath's own way, saying thank you, body. You might find it's enough to power a wiggle of the fingertips and the toes, to flex the ankles, stretch the feet, to roll the wrists. Maybe you like the sensation of turning the head one way and the other. And then in your own time, there might be enough power for a big stretch, fingertips up and overhead. If you've got the toes extended up the wall, you might point the toes here. And then in your own time, you might squeeze the knees in towards the chest. Again, if the legs are extended up the wall, you'll slide the feet down the wall and bring the knees in. Very gently, very carefully roll yourself over onto your favourite side. And in your own time, press yourself up to find a comfortable seat. You don't have to lift the gaze. The eyes can stay closed if you want them to. Drop into that comfortable seat. Find that softness again. Comfortable seat, not your perfect yoga sitting position. You can let it go a bit. Feel soft. Soak up these last few moments of your practice. And then in your own time, when you feel ready, you can seal your practice however you like. Maybe the hands come to heart center, maybe the head bows to the wisdom of the heart, or anything else that feels right as a gesture of gratitude for you in this moment. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'm sure I'll see you all again really